So welcome everybody to this latest Macklin's Take YouTube episode, and featuring in this one, as I quickly change this from speaker view to gallery view, which is something I never normally remember to do. There you go. Darren, our producer, will be pleased with that. So Matt Macklin with me, obviously. He's it's called Macklin's Take. It would be weird if he wasn't on it. And Fabio Wardley, heavyweight contender, who fights on Saturday night in the chief support to that rematch between Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. He's up against Eric Molina. The Rumble on the Rock, it's been called, which I'm a fan of. And I think it's good, actually, that this has gone somewhere a little bit new, because brilliant though the work by Matchroom has been with Fight Camp and then with the residency at the SSC Arena, it looks spectacular. I just think a little bit of a change of scene just gives this just a little bit extra. So I'm going to get some predictions from these two, not just about the main event on Saturday, but about some other fights as well that Fabio in particular is well qualified to give us a comment on. But we'll start with the Rumble on the Rock, the rematch between Povetkin and Dillian Whyte. So Matt, you first. What's going to happen?
I think Dillian wins. I think he wins probably late stoppage.
Fabio?
I would agree. Yeah, I agree with Macklin there. Probably somewhere in the realms of 6 to 8. I think it goes a similar way, but without the shocker that we experienced last time.
Just on that, must have been a strange experience watching that.
Yeah, I said in something after that it's painful. It hurts. You feel it like it's your own, especially with someone like Dillian, that's someone that I'm so close to. That it's this. Imagine like watching a family member of your own drop to the floor like that, and you not being able to run or rush there, or not that I could have done anything or anything like that at all, but you just have that instinct to want to be there for someone like that. And it was a weird one to experience, and a weird one to be on the other side of the screen to watch as well, especially because I watched it in a public place, and in my hometown of Ipswich, where obviously I'm relatively well known, and they obviously know my association with Dillian. That when this all happened, everyone just turned and looked at me, and I was like, I haven't got any answers for anyone. I can't help anyone. So it was a weird one for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I bet it was very dramatic being there on the night with kind of like wind whispering through the trees and the alpacas about 30 yards away, and it was like something out of Victorian times, almost the Regency period, where people used to duel in the middle of nowhere to avoid the local constabulary. I think I've drawn that comparison before, but it's just one that I find entertaining. So another fight, no date set for this one yet. We thought might have been one by now. Joe Joyce against Alexander Usyk. You've been out in Ukraine sparring Usyk a couple of times. That for me is a very interesting fight. So we'll start with you on that one, Fabio.
It's a really hard one for me, really hard one, just because I think they are each other's kryptonite in the sense of they're both well known for outworking their opponent and almost outlasting their opponents, and it's a battle of the engines almost to see who can outlast the other. But then with the added complex of, okay, Joe is the bigger man, probably with the stronger punch and everything, but then obviously Usyk is a lot more elusive, a lot quicker on his feet, and Joan has been known to be called slow at times and a bit cumbersome, and doesn't always first to the mark. So I'll be honest with that one, I'm very 50-50, unfortunately.
Matt?
I lean to Usyk, but I think Fabio's bang on when he said they're both probably each other's kryptonite. You know, if there's someone going to beat Usyk, it's probably Joe Joyce. I mean, Chisora didn't half put him under a lot of pressure, made him feel really uncomfortable, you know. So, but no, I think, look, Usyk, I think you just got to go with Usyk, but only just.
And actually, just another quick one related to that, Fabio. The Dubois-Joyce fight at the end of last year, long awaited, much anticipated. Great fight to get on, great domestic fight to get on under COVID conditions. What did you make of that? Were you surprised by how that played out? Did you think that would happen?
I was surprised, but because the reason I was surprised, well, one, I'd been in camp with Joe. I'd helped him. I was probably in camp with him for about 3-4 weeks in terms of him getting ready for that fight. I was one of the sparring partners. So I'd been around him, so I know how hard he'd been training. But the two obvious things on each side for me were Daniel's obviously massive punch power, and then Joe at times is susceptible to just being caught. But what we found out on the night was, which I don't think any of us could have guessed or quantified in any sort of context, is that just how solid his chin is and how well weathered he is to take a punch and just keep moving. I think once you experience that, I think Daniel found that quite disheartening. And then Joe, obviously, just as well as the injury and everything, Joe just pumped through with his game. But at the point of kind of months before when it was being announced and things, I would have probably edged it slightly to Daniel just for those two for that reason. But Joe proved on the night he's got a chin made of granite, stone, rock, all molded into one solid oak, the lot.
Yeah, it was fascinating the way that played out. It'll be really interesting to see what Dubois is like when he comes through the other side of that one, and who's in his corner as well, because we've been hearing things about that. The third and final one that we'll get your thoughts on is a fight that caught my eye as soon as it was made between, I believe it has been made, between Filip Hrgović and Michael Hunter. So we've seen Hunter quite a bit on Matchroom and Sky shows. He was unlucky not to get the win against Povetkin. I thought he beat Povetkin. I thought it was close but clear, if that makes any sense. And Hrgović we saw the same night, and I saw him a lot in the amateurs. And he is what he looks like. He is a big, tough, hard, strong fighter who is quite old school in that he will choose whatever route is the most efficient to get him from A to B, and he's not all that bothered what it looks like. Hunter has got a lot of courage for quite a small heavyweight, so he'll be giving away a lot of size. He will stand and trade if he feels that he needs to at times, but obviously he's good on his feet as well. So for that reason, I make that a really interesting fight. Matt, you first on that one.
I think Michael Hunter wins. I think Michael Hunter is the most underrated out of all the heavyweights. I think he has got massive internal strength, mental toughness. You know, really, when I think of Michael Hunter, I just think it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog, and he has got the fight inside of him. And I think that'll be the thing that gets him over the line and gets the win. But I think it's a tough fight, but yeah, I'll go for Hunter.
Fabio?
Again, I think it's a tough and very close fight. I would back Hrgović. Again, I'm a massive fan of Hunter. I really am. But I just think that eventually he will get to him. I just think eventually that Hrgović will get to Hunter at some point. That he's great on his feet, he's quick, he's elusive. But I think just at some point that just kind of that robotic, almost power machine of Hrgović will eventually land something. Something will hit home and get Hunter out of there. But that's no discredit to Hunter at all, because I think he's a great fighter. I do. I think he is, like Macklin said, very underestimated in pretty much any fight he's been in, and he's always come through. So it's almost kind of funny that I'm going to say this, and maybe I'll eat my hat, but I would back Hrgović in that.
It's a really good matchup. That really good matchup. Just a quick Hrgović story. I remember this. You remember this, Matt, as well. When we were sitting down to do fighter meetings in Saudi Arabia, December 2019, and so fighter meetings, in case anyone isn't aware, we don't mention them that much because honestly, generally speaking, not that much comes out of them. But we all kind of sit down at a table, the broadcast media, so is ourselves and DAZN, and it's the day before the fight, usually after the weigh-in, or could be after the press conference. And fighters will be brought in individually, and we get a chance to just have a really good chat with them and see what's going on with them and how they're feeling and all that type of thing. So we were doing it that day, and it was down in the basement of this really big swanky hotel, the Fight Hotel. It just seemed to go on forever, this place, but somehow we managed to find the right room. So there was this massive kind of banquet table, is how you would describe it. So we were all on one side. Anyway, Hrgović comes in for his turn, and he's well dressed, sharp suit. You know, he looked like a kind of, you know, somebody you would find in a casino in Montenegro in a James Bond film. You know, in Casino Royale, something like that. And so he was giving an answer. At one point, Spencer Oliver and Carl Froch, kind of down the end of the table, just started sniggering about something. I think they were just like looking at some meme on their phone. And he just immediately stopped, looked bolt straight at them and just said, what's funny? What are you laughing at? And you've never seen two people go quiet so fucking quickly. It was great. The Cobra, who would have you believe he is a man of stone.
They're both pointing at each other. They're both pointing at each other.
Yeah, they were.
It wasn't me, sir. It wasn't me,
It was tremendous. It was like some kind of scene from school, but the Cobra and Spencer Oliver, he was just, it was like a school teacher, only a massive, really hard one, telling two of his pupils off. So anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for your company, you two. Best of luck on Saturday, Fabio. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you again soon.